I definitely want to hit on the podcast, Ride Companion.
So I was a guest on this Davi's podcast. He's been running it for many years, and I was a guest a couple of times. And I always like podcasts. Podcasts are very normal now, but back then they weren't. And Davy was doing something really different. One of the only things I try and do on a podcast is not talk about myself. You know, as a host, I try desperately hard not to talk about myself. It's one of my rules, but it's much easier to just sit and sort of be reactive almost rather than proactive. Nice. Like, I feel your pain. You're thinking about what to talk about next.
Sure,
and want to make sure you hit all the key points.
Oh, this is awkward.
I mean, I think you got a bit of a responsibility to like your guest.
Yeah,
so I try quite hard on the podcast. But anyway, so that wasn't how it started. It started off like we went into lockdown. Davey was just like, hey, people are going to be up for consuming more content. Are you up for doing like a weekly show? And like, I didn't have a great deal on, I'll be honest. I was sort of sitting around waiting for a time where I was allowed to go riding with my friends. So I was like, absolutely, yes. It helped me kind of
get through it.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I was just like, I just want to be able to send something to my sponsors that I think I'm not just sat at home doing nothing. But secondly, it actually became something I look forward to. And like during lockdown, we were very lucky in that we got a bit of momentum and bit of community, and people really got behind it. They wanted to hear what you've been up to that week. They've been doing nothing as well, you know. And it allowed me to be a bit creative with my ideas, and like I was always thinking of stuff to talk about and all the things I find interesting. So it started off like that, and it's ended up kind of like an actual real thing where we have guests on and
it's like a podcast,
a backdrop and microphones. Yeah, it's not like a Skype call. It's actually the real deal. We've got a few more wood lice than this place, a bit less sound quality. We've got a team of people that do a great job like yours. So yeah,
right.
We've had some really standout, amazing guests. I mean, actually, Robski, yours was unreal. Yours was one. I said nothing, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is quite something. We're actually producing something that's actually proper here. We're not just talking about like hitting turns and
no, it's a bit different from me as well, wasn't it? Obviously. yeah. I remember when I said to you, I need to come on your pod. I was at Dakar and I made a decision. I was like, right, I'm going on the Ride Companion podcast and I'm going to lay it all out there. I had 2 weeks in a tent and I was like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
I actually got upset out there. I was like, I need to get this out done.
Yeah.
And then I rung you and I was like, do you remember? And I was like, I need to do it, mate. Can I come on? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, you're going to get it all. I'm going to break down. And you were like, you sounded less keen at that moment, actually. And then sure enough, we just went on there and it happened, didn't it? It was mad. Thanks for letting me do it, because I'd never been able to do it with people that weren't my mates. But yeah, it was funny, wasn't it? How we just one of them. It was a completely different thing.
For the people who like don't know about that episode, what was it like?
It was me basically saying, found out I had autism in 2017, and here I am 5 or 6 years later having a massive breakdown, but getting it out. I need to get it out. I need to tell everyone, or I'm probably never going to feel normal again in life. And funnily enough, now 3 or 4 years on, is it that long?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's work. I talk about autism like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I was on Gypsy Tales and we had a good long chat about it for an hour. So I've done it, and I'm proud of myself for that.
Yeah,
and
too.
It's all started with your podcast. So thank you for. No, but I couldn't have done it, mate, without anyone else. It's true. And I know Davey less, but I know him and I like him as well.
Yeah.
You know, I don't go riding with him all the time, but no, I couldn't have done it. That was cool for me to come on there. Thank you.
It was a standout one, and I'm not just saying it, but it felt
wasn't
like
your normal
it was
mountain bike chat.
No, it wasn't, and it felt like something that probably you feel it when you're talking about it. You're like, oh, I know there's a lot of people that are going to be, it's resonating with me. I know it's resonating with a lot of people that are listening. Maybe more so than me talking about like filling up sandbags at Red Bull Rampage. It's quite a different thing from everyday life, but everyone's felt weird and alone or whatever.
That's right, and you know that, and once you put it out there actually, and then like that was the risky bit, but then the feedback, you were like, there was no risk there whatsoever.
No.
It's exactly the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's gone on continuing it to be exactly the right thing to do, because it's one wall broken down around autism and all that shit. So it's good. It's good. Definitely a good thing. Yeah. Whew.
That was a standout.